Heresy 3.0. Quite a bit of leakage happening in this horrible, terrible idea of an edition. Quick hint of what's to come. But before we get into the leaks proper themselves, I would say this article that GW on Warhammer that GW released on Warhammer Community. There's definitely a lot of things make sense after you read this, and not in a good way. It's a very enlightening little article, although I don't think it's going to have the intended effect that they hope. Yeah, so might as well just jump into it. Fuck it. I'm not going to go into in-depth on every single thing, but you will notice here, contents, command, Centurions, Centurion Terminator armors, blah blah blah, librarians. Missing a couple. Such as Pathfinders, Masters of the Forge, or the one I use quite a bit personally, in Armistos. Or, you know, so that's all stellar. Great, even. I love not having options for things I fucking built. Retinues. I have not found the actual stats blocks for the retinues yet, but I'm gonna go on a limb and assume that bike retinues are gone along with the bike characters. Elites, veterans, you can read. I'm not gonna go through every single thing, although I will have mentioned I dislike the new force organization system. I think it's more of an issue than a let's on. I will say, however, putting all the dreadnoughts into one category is probably the right call. This system might actually be a good thing in the long run. We just don't know yet. And then obviously, part 2. You know, you got all your other things and loyalist parts. You know, take a look. I'm not... shan't be going through it all by one. Before we continue on to some of the Legion-specific fun bucks, Outrider squadrons, you know, people with bikes, all the fun things. You're kind of missing a few options, you might have noticed. For instance, the only pistols can be replaced instead of all models with power weapons. You only have either the twin bolt guns or the twin plasma guns instead of the twin melta guns or the twin flamers. So anyone who's made a bike army in the past, sorry, you're kind of shit out of luck. Fucking word salad's a terrible organization for all of it. Anyway, moving on to the Legion specific stuff, which, by the way, you can probably find these if you go looking hard enough. I'm not going to go into every single detail of every single thing. Quickly, just so it's clear from the get-go, I don't think the new challenge system is a very good idea. I think it's actually quite fucking terrible. Adding a damage characteristic to a bunch of weapons, also not really important, I think, when you start giving shit extra wounds. Because all it does is make the shit that's made to kill the shit with lots of wounds very good at killing everything. But, you know, they got perdition weapons and all this shit. Fine. Okay, fantastic. Crimson Paladins don't really care. I'm not a Blood Angel player, and unfortunately I don't know their own stuff very well, but I do know the Angel's Tears. And I know they're supposed to have assault cannons. They don't anymore. Which is pretty funny. in a bad way. You also can see at the top, probably should mention it first, never mind. Yeah, so the lack of angels, or assault cannons on the angels tiers, some people are going to have a sad time with what they've already modeled. Blood angels get assault cannons. The other one don't. They have a very similar Legion trait. The whole gambit system I'm just gonna ignore. You can read it if you want, pause and read it if you want to. Prime are crap. Ralderon. Zephon. Dark Angels. Not really the most familiar with all the Dark Angel stuff. The Hecatonystica. Never really my cup of tea. I will say that when you get to their Legion trait, their new Legion trait kind of made me laugh, with it being similar to the the 2.0 Word Bearer one, seeing as it's basically their leadership, willpower, cool intelligence, which I still don't think these all needed to be broken up. We condensed these all into leadership for a reason, and it worked to make you a billion-dollar company. I think this is a bad idea to break it up again, but who knows? I might be wrong. That was amusing. More shit for them. Pause and read it at your own leisure. Because there's a couple here that I wanted to look at specifically, because these are more common legions, like the Imperial Fist. Their storm shields aren't quite the same, which fine, whatever. They don't have assault cannons on this page. And, of course, we don't have an Armistos as an HQ, but the Imperial Fist still got a Castellan. And he gains an augury scanner, which whatever, and then instead of getting the Centurion options, he gets the fucking heavy bolter and autocannon assault cannon. So he's a pseudo Armistos, or the closest thing we got so far in the leaks, I think, unless I missed something. Which is, you know, very clownish. There's quite a lot of fuckery in there, in fact. And let's give it the unique shit to the Imperial Fist again. Also, the Templar Brethren having a 2-up save, neat. They still get some options. Oh, right, the whole step-up phase is fucking stupid. Phalanx Warders, who cares? Imperial Fist have a slightly nerfed version of the previous trait, if you want to say it. The battle. Interesting. Also, was the Vandarg areas known as the Tyrant of Chthonia? I thought that was the Sons of Horus model that came out with them, but maybe I'm wrong. Iron Hands. All this shit. It's all fantastic. They have basically the same thing. Uh... There is a funny, quite the funny bit coming up here that I'm sure certain YouTube channels won't mention. For the Gorgon Terminators, for instance, they don't have a gun. I don't think they, unless the Gorgon Terminator armor came with a gun. Graviton pistol. Unless the Terminator armor comes with one. Nope. So, yeah, Gorgon Terminators don't have guns. I don't know what that thing in their hand is, but it's not a gun. So that's fun. $1 billion company, by the way. No, Immortals are start at 5 now? I thought they were they 10 the previous edition? Grab my book. Yeah, they started at 10 in the previous edition in 2.0, so I mean, I guess that makes sense. They're sold in groups of 5. Raven Guard, not exactly gonna say I'm a fan of making breaching and rending 6 up, but maybe I'm crazy. Only Praetors, generic Centurions, the Opte and the Moratech can take jump packs, so that's cool. The Prime slot thing is also fucking stupid. I know I haven't really been mentioning them, but it's so asinine that I don't even want to bother discussing it. The Raven Guard having you can only snap shoot at them if they're 18 inches away or farther. You have to snap shoot them. That's fucking hilarious and awful. They should give Scoria rules. Mordaven have lost all their special equipment and options. It's pretty terrible. The Fatal Strike thing with the bonus to Pallista's kill, I don't know if that would be better than the rending. It might be because of the critical strike and all that, but I'm not a fan. Dark Furies, you can only have 2 sergeants now instead of 3. Granted, that was fucking weird before, but, you know. God, I'm glad we have all these extra stats, and they all keep being fucking 7 with the occasional 8. Salamanders, they have a shitload of weapons now. Their new trait is you can only wound them on a 3 or higher. So that's pretty good. You might have been noticing there's some been text written on all of the pages here. I have nothing to do with it, I assure you, but it is funny. I guess I should say, really quickly as a disclaimer, that this page was sent to me from a friend who has got it from someone else in some Discord. I don't know what the beef is with this. I know Pardo is from is a Warhammer YouTuber, I think. And I've been told some things, but I don't know how true that is. Space Wolves. I think they got not great. He's an influencer, you see. The big tragedy here, the fucking 2 inches to their setup move, which is part of charging. The whole system is so fucking stupid. Lehman Russ. Who cares? You know, it's not really that important. Like Gargo or Fell-Handed. The real Fell-Handed, unlike that Bjorn feller. Or maybe it should be the other way around. Who really knows? Breaching form and a shred of a fight. Alright. The Vringar, though, kind of funny. They have no options either. They just get a Frost Axe. So, you know, if you've modeled yours with a Frost Claw and a Thunder Hammer, or maybe swords, or any variation thereof, get fucked, says GW. Ultramarines, they get an extra reaction, a turn, basically. No one really cares. They're Ultramarines. No, they're not loved. Although Praetorians are actually kind of cheaper, a chunk cheaper than Suzerain this time around. Maybe they'll actually see some play from some people who aren't insane. That'd be nice. White Scars, they're White Scars. I never really thought they were very good, but there are many people who would disagree with me on that for both first edition and second edition, I'm sure. How much of this is just me rambling to pad time? Are you still watching? Should I fuck off? Are you just pausing and reading this? I wouldn't blame you. I've done that before with leaked videos. But yeah, no, that's all of this. Slow it down and rewind, pause it if you want to read any of that individually. Like I said, reading this article first, which is on the Warhammer community page, will enlighten you, as it has me, onto some of their decisions and how they don't make any fucking sense. Or maybe I should say they make no sense. They make sense to a very specific mindset that's very obvious in said article. And that's unfortunate. Anyway. Tell me what you think about all this nonsense. Are you excited for the new edition, or not so excited? Have a good day.